Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Google Workspace Recap, a tabGeeks Network show. Each week we take you through everything announced by Google Workspace, discussing the updates of the week and other relevant news and announcements. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. Now, I wonder how fast I could actually say that. Steve and I were just joking before we started here that he couldn't do the intro because he doesn't talk as fast as I do. I wonder how fast I could really...
I could. Like that you're repeating, that's... generally speaking, I don't speak nearly as fast as you do, but I'm sure with a little bit of practice... I could get that sped up to about your speed, I think.
Yeah, I can go faster. We should try that sometime.
Sure.
Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed our live event this past Thursday. If you missed it, I will be uploading a full HD version later this week and pushing it out to the podcast world as well, and if you missed it over there. Now that I'm back at full bandwidth for tabGeeks production, I'll hopefully be getting these episodes out, including the Workspace Recap episodes, on our previous release schedule as close to midday Tuesdays as possible, and I owe you all a bunch of unboxing and update videos as well, so stay tuned for that. Steve, how's it going?
I unboxed some coffee today. How about that?
Ooh, where was it from? What kind of coffee?
Colombia.
Was it just your morning brew? Dunkin' Donuts? No?
Oh, no, like it was literally like from some small little
oh, really?
Coffee producing plant and farm in Colombia that like roasted it a couple days ago, sent me a video of them roasting it and like showing them bag it and shipped it off to me. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I bought about 5 kilos worth of coffee from them.
Not bad.
So
not bad. What makes it special? Fresh as hell? You got to see how it was made?
It just kind of matches like what I like in coffee. So it's, I've struggled to find other coffees as good as that for as reasonable a price too. Unless you're buying like super expensive, specialty coffee, and it was reasonable. It's I think it turned like with shipping and import duties and everything. It's like $15 for 500 grams worth of coffee. So kind of like
that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, my in-laws used to import from Costa Rica, and that stuff was unbelievably good. I don't know why they stopped. I'll have to ask them.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I say Colombia?
You said Colombia. You meant Costa Rica?
It's Costa Rica.
That's the good stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, it's Costa Rica.
So I'm gonna have to get my hands on some of that. Yeah, I have a fancy coffee machine, but I just buy the Trader Joe's, medium roast beans. Good stuff.
My go-to locally is there's actually a local company called Two Brothers here in Chicago, and they make some coffee, and they have I think it's called like a house blend or something like that. It's kind of on the lighter scale, and it's available in bulk at Costco. So, I picked that up, and that's kind of my go-to coffee at the moment, other than this Costa Rican that just arrived, not Colombian, sorry.
Well, I'll have to give that a try for sure. It's been a while since I had any of the
I'll save you some. I've got 5 kilos of it, so I got
5 kilos.
I'll share. Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's good. But yeah, they sent me 2 other varieties that I did not order, so I got to sample those this morning, which was nice. Yeah.
Are they samplers or full-size bags?
One was 250 grams and one was 500. So yeah, full size pretty much.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I always laugh at the descriptions on these things, and it hasn't come over so much to coffee, but I mean it has. But on wine
mine's
bottles,
all in Spanish,
what does yours say?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I have no idea. It's all in Spanish, so I really have no idea. Every word is in Spanish,
funny.
so it's even though their Instagram is all Spanish, so I have no idea what they're saying. The translate. It's easy enough to figure it out. But no, it's just they have a phone number, and you talk to them on WhatsApp, and you tell them what you want.
Interesting.
That's how I ordered. Yeah.
Well, my favorite wine description of all time, which I love quoting this one, is talking about the origins. You talk about the fact that you got to see a video of how it was being made. This wine was harvested at dawn by virgins overlooking the Sea of Galilee, and this goes on and on and on. And I was just like, oh man. Hey, whatever works. It's all marketing, right?
Sounds like child labor to me. I don't know.
You never know. In some countries.
Is that just a nice way of saying children harvested this?
Right.
Oof, I don't know.
Well, you got to see the video of your coffee being made, so I figure they're going to come up with some kind of way of spinning that as, only touched by the finest, strongest hands in all of Costa Rica. And
Right.
The most handsome of people.
I delivered to, at least. I know, but I don't know about it.
Well, it tastes like
All
it
right.
anyway.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's a tangent from our usual alcohol talk. Is now we're also apparently coffee
No
snobs.
coffee. Well,
Speaking
not
of
so
alcohol.
much as other people that I know, but
Hmm.
I do enjoy specific types of coffee for sure.
Yeah, yeah, same. I like the blonde roasts. They're
That is what I go to. I used to have
more coffee.
when I was at Starbucks. Yeah. All the ones that I have is all very light roast.
Yeah, yeah. You
Still
get more
coffees.
caffeine that way.
You do.
All right. Good topics.
Did we cover everything in the intro? I think.
I think so. Yeah, we did.
We did. Cool. All right. Well, I think that this week has been, we got a few updates here. I'm trying to look at the headlines. We've got 5 that came out in the published releases. The one that came out in the end of week recap was one that I was alluding to a few weeks back about
My favorite.
press the space bar and unmute yourself. That was one that was, I think, unexpectedly released in a screenshot somewhere else in one of the announcements. Someone caught that and highlighted that. They saw that as a new setting. So that is now coming out very shortly. And then I would say not too much happening in other topics in the news. Jesse added one that I thought everyone would know about anyways, but apparently there's 10,000 people that are learning this today. So
Hey,
we'll
you
talk a little bit
referenced
about
it.
that. Yes.
And where the
Exactly.
origin of that quote comes from.
Who can tell us about that one? I wonder if anyone knows. Well, we'll probably reveal it here in a few moments. So going through the updates that we have for this week in the silent releases that are in the recap post is that to unmute yourself, press and hold the spacebar, and to mute again, release the spacebar. That feature is coming. In the published releases, we have an updated Hey Google voice control behavior for Google Meet hardware devices. And as you will notice, mine did not go off because I went around and muted all of them in the house. So
But all of yours did.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening, if you're not listening on headphones, they did. So, yeah. And then next we have the upgrade to OAuth 2.0 is going to continue using calendar interrupt by October 1st, 2022. Yeah, upgrade to OAuth 2 to continue using calendar interrupt by October 1st, 2022. We'll talk more about that in a bit. And then there's some more flexibility being added to Google Sheet functions. Some more ways to collaborate using visitor sharing in Google Drive, and easily search for chat spaces in Gmail. And then in other news, we should call it other news instead of other topics. I'm going to change that. Other
that's
news.
a good idea.
There
we go.
Topics. Yeah, other news. Now I got to go to my template and update it there. We'll do that in a second. All right, in other news.
Always changing, always improving, folks.
Yeah.
On the
So
fly
in other
sometimes.
news, here's an early look at Google's Chrome browser PWA store, and then the one that I was thinking everyone already knows is an article from Chrome Unboxed. I guess Robbie didn't know about this one until now, so he talks about use this hidden Gmail trick to sort and route email like a ninja. But I think most of you folks will have heard of this one before, so we'll see what your thoughts are on that, if you've heard it before or not. I think you have.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let's get some more comments. I need some more of those.
We love comments.
We do. I don't have a lot of them. Gotta get some more. I feel so lonely without them.
So lonely, so one way.
Yeah. All right. Looking at those updates that we were talking about there. First one being the spacebar to unmute yourself and releasing it to mute yourself. I think it's pretty self-explanatory there by the title of the feature. The feature will be off by default, and it can be enabled, though, in the Google Meet settings. This rollout will be heading out to domains on both rapid release and scheduled release domains starting the 9th of September. on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility, and it's going to be available to all Workspace customers as well as those with Google personal Google accounts on all web browsers. So that's what that one. Yeah.
I fell afoul of this last week in Riverside. I'm going to have to talk to them because I share on the other side of this wall an office. Not the end, the whole damn show. I was hitting, yes, and you maybe it only really came through in the recording and it didn't show up as much on live, although I'm pretty sure it did. I was cutting myself off at the end of every time I was talking because I would, I don't know, I guess it wasn't finished transmitting by the time I lifted my hand off. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it was... Well, no. It's the push. It's the push to unmute. It's the same exact feature.
And that's a feature of Riverside.
But yes, in Riverside you can do that. If you mute yourself, you can press to talk.
In Riverside, that's what I'm saying. In Riverside,
which is exactly what this is. It's PTT. It's classic walkie-talkie. But yeah. So in our
interesting.
That's disorienting.
Yeah, I have a button that mutes myself when I.
So I have one on my mic that I could do also, but it's harder to find.
Well,
it's a touch. It's not a button. I suppose I could get what do you call it? A kick button on the floor, which would probably be better for me to use under my desk. But in this case, I'm going to have to go in and record some demos on a Google Meet to see how well that works and if it cuts me off. Or where exactly, how quickly one can release before it, cuts off on what they're saying. So maybe it's just how I talk. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice it during the live.
We're just so in sync that you could tell what I was saying.
It's unusual that
even though I didn't fully finish saying
recording.
I'm in your head, Steve.
I thought I heard it though. I don't know. All right, weird.
Right.
Well, that's true. That's
typed true. Live into
you're literally you are. I mean, you're on my head. That's for sure. Yes.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
It's time to find a new host.
At night, just have recordings of Jesse speaking in my head. Okay. Anyways. All right. Next, first update we have is that there's an updated Hey Google voice control behavior for Google Meet hardware devices. So Google's changing how the Hey Google voice control works. With the update here, the assistant will only be active when a device is not in a meeting and within 10 minutes of an upcoming meeting. So not having Hey Google
is that a problem outside of Google?
Meetings will help reduce accidental activation. And
I guess if somebody is trying to reach for their phone to ask a question that activates the Meet device, I suppose that could be an issue.
Yeah.
You had a lot of weather out there, you're saying.
Allergies kind of flaring up a little bit these last couple of days, which usually only lasts for a couple. Yeah, usually only lasts for a couple of days in the season, but it's just annoying when it does happen.
Oh boy.
It's not that bad right now, but I was sneezing a lot yesterday. Sorry. All right. So we're also expanding. So not Jesse and I, but Google's also expanding the devices that will be able to support the Hey Google voice control to include Logitech Rally Bar, Logitech Rally Bar Mini.
It's been launched like 8 times.
Of the Series 1 Desk 27. I thought that was already launched.
It's been launched. It's been released. Now it's shipping.
I thought. Yeah, I thought the
At this point, I feel like I have to order one just to see how long it'll take for me to get it.
Yeah. I don't know.
They were doing the road show with it.
I'm sure some people.
Weren't they coming to Chicago?
I'm pretty sure I had some shipments of it. They were, and there was like 2 announcements about it being launched. One from, I think Avocor announced it, and then Google announced it, and that was a couple weeks ago from the second announcement that it was launched. All right. Well, there are some additional details here, which I remember we have to kind of keep an eye on because it can be pretty important. Because Hey Google will only be active when there's an upcoming meeting, the end user toggle has been removed to ensure the hardware device is in the expected default state for future use. So there you go. Admins still are going to be able to enable or disable voice control in the admin console, and no end user impact here. Rollout for this one is going to start on the 29th of August. A gradual rollout to both rapid release and scheduled release domains for up to 15 days for visibility there. And it's going to be available to all Workspace customers on supported Meet hardware.
They actually mention, I joked, is that only for inside? Is that only a problem inside of Google? And they mention it in the post here. They say that they've heard from customers that due to the increase in teams transitioning to hybrid meetings, the Hey Google control can unintentionally be triggered during meetings. And there goes mine. I guess that makes sense. Is that just before the call, Steve was trying to get his lights turned on, and so he called out to Google. And if we were on a Meet device, I suppose that would have caused a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it is more of a problem than just inside of Google. So I apologize.
Yeah, and my lights didn't respond because
I thought they were just finally
for the upcoming.
I thought Skynet finally went
so
active, and that was it for you. It was touch and go there for a bit. I was worried.
Not yet. No.
See, I told you.
Skynet,
here it goes.
We have Skynet installing a new access control system.
You think they're only in your office? By the way, it starts in your office, and
that's
then
the company we have doing our access control.
I've
Skynet.
got the. This is. Did you see what just happened in my video feed? I have Well, there's a hand motion. So I have the Opal C1 for those who haven't listened to the last several episodes.
Moving. It's following you.
And there are some hand motions, and I thought I had turned them off, like the ability to write. There's like
follow me.
2 fingers like this. You can write on the screen. I turned that off, but apparently I managed to trigger one that follows my head around if I wanted to make everybody dizzy. So that's happening. Or it's just Skynet that hears that we're talking about it, and it's tracking me and telling me we see you. Oh man, I gotta turn this off. Here we go.
Like,
face
we
lock.
see you.
Whew, that's better.
Yeah.
Safe.
Okay. All right. While you do that, I'll get into the next update here, which is the upgrade to OAuth 2 to continue using Google Calendar Interop by the 1st of October this year. With the announcement of support for OAuth 2 to ensure Calendar Interop continues to be available after Microsoft disablement of basic authentication Exchange Online. That was back in 2020. So starting October 1st, Microsoft will begin to remove the ability to use basic authentication Exchange Online for Exchange Web Services. Finally, I think that's a welcomed security improvement. It's taken them a while, but hey, better late than never, right? This will impact the Workspace customers using Interop with basic authentication. Brian, that means we might need to update our video and article about Calendar Interop, because I think that is all done before this was enforced, although maybe we did that on a domain that was already using auth for authentication. So to continue using this, you need to upgrade to auth authentication before the 1st of October, and it only impacts Microsoft Exchange Online implementations. If you currently use an on-prem Exchange implementation, then no action is needed. So yes, more than likely, in our video, I believe we did a 365 implementation because we don't really have on-prem Microsoft environments for what we were testing and demoing with. So we will update that in due time. In terms of rollout for this one, it's already there, functionality is there. You just have to go in and make that update. So it is going to impact those users with basic authentication on 365. So not really a feature announcement, but it's really more of a you better fix your shit before it breaks kind of thing. Yeah. So that's really what that's about. Do we count that in updates, in features? I don't know.
Technically a release.
Make an asterisk on that one. Not quite count that towards updates that Google had this year.
Maybe.
No, not because it was a 2020 release. So this is just an announcement. Whatever. All right. Next is adding more flexibility to functions in Sheets. The introduction here of named functions is going to be a new feature. It's going to allow you to create high-performance custom functions that support built-in Sheets formula constructs. And to maintain reusability across files, you can also import name functions from existing sheet files, allowing you to use functions created in one sheet
Sweet.
into a different sheet. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of you Excel users out there will appreciate this one. I know this was something that I've had some end users ask about a while back, especially like name functions, formulas, things like that, name ranges. I think that's already been released, but those were some things that I remember not being available in Sheets, but they were in Excel. So lots of details here around other functionality that's being released. So a bunch of new powerful functions in Sheets are coming out, like Lambda, some Lambda function helper functions. So map, reduce, by row, by column, scan, make array, all are coming out there. So some advanced array operating functions, XLOOKUP, XMatch. Those are all some interesting things here that are coming to a sheet near you. Coming to a sheet near you. And this has already started rolling out to rapid release and scheduled release domains. Started on the 24th of August on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. It's only available to some customers, unfortunately, though. So oddly enough, this is not going to be available to frontline nonprofits as well as G Suite Basic and business customers. It will be available to the personal Google accounts and all of the other SKUs that I did not mention. So, yeah, unfortunately, not happening for me on the nonprofit domain. That's so weird that it's not coming to. I don't know. It's a little weird that there's functionality for Sheets.
Advanced functionality for a reason.
Everyone, but alas, just the decisions of Google's. Yeah, the decision of the Googles. All right, two more updates here. Second to last one, we have more ways to collaborate using visitor sharing in Drive. Of course, you can already use visitor sharing to do some pin code based collaboration with those users that are non-Google accounts. So with this, it allows non-Google users to view, comment, or edit content. And beginning today, today being the 24th of August, you can use visitor sharing to allow non-Google users to upload content or create files within shared drives owned by organizations and users on Google Workspace. I think there's going to be a lot of cheering for that one because I remember, there was some issues with, just being able to add information into new documents. You could, of course, edit existing ones, but just couldn't do anything from a document creation perspective in these folders and in these shared drives if you were a non-Google and pin code sharing user. With the release here, timing-wise, you're going to see that has started already. As I mentioned earlier, it started on the 24th of August. It's going to be on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, and only available to a small subset of you. So only available to Workspace Essentials, Business Standard, Business Plus, Education Plus, Education Standard, and Enterprise Plus customers. Not available to personal Google accounts, not available to nonprofits, Frontline, Legacy, G Suite Basic at Business, Business Starter, Enterprise Essentials, and Education Fundamentals. So
you
only
said Enterprise. You said Education Standard, but I don't see that listed here as available. Education Plus, and then Enterprise
Education
Standard.
Plus, Enterprise Standard, correct? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Good catch in case I said that wrong.
Gotta keep you honest.
If you're confused, just check the article, the announcement. It's the best way. It's the best way. Even that is sometimes
in the links below.
Yeah, in the links below.
Or in the show notes if you're on the audio world.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have next and last but not least. Okay, easily search for chat spaces in Gmail. So you can now just search more easily here in your good old new Gmail interface. It is going to give you more options to show results when you do your search in Gmail, and you'll be able to select mail, messages, or spaces, and pinpoint where you really want to look for that piece of information. And I wish it would show you all of them at once, where you didn't have to select a specific one. Does it do that? I don't think it does. I think you have to, I think by default it just searches mail, right? And then you have to specifically go in and search for something else. So
Well, you can click over onto the other tab of
yeah, I know.
mail,
That's what I
chat,
mean. Like
or spaces.
I know. Like right now it's mail and chat and spaces, right? So it groups, bundles chat and spaces together. I just kind of liked, do you remember like when it was Hangouts, right? Hangouts just showed up as almost like another email thread. So it was right there. It looked a little bit different because
unified search.
Yeah, it was like a unified search. And you just, you could recognize in the line item that it was a Hangout chat, right? And not a normal email because it just looked different. And I kind of wish that it was that. I don't like having to click and say, oh, I actually meant chat or space. I want to see it in a unified result and know this result is mail, this is chat, this is a space, and I can see that. Because also what it does is, if it gives me those results across all three mediums, I then can kind of see that progression of, hey, when was I talking about this, and how, who, where, where was I talking about it at this point in time? Oh, we started in an email, then we chatted about it here, and then we moved that to a space, and we moved back to some emails. I don't get that when I have to switch between each one individually. I can't see that, I just can't see that as seamlessly. And that's what I kind of liked about the previous unified results between Hangouts and Gmail. So
I agree with you.
That's my thoughts on that one.
I don't think it's going to be I think for sure not. It's going to be the default option, or maybe, the only option. It may be a default option in the future. I agree with you. I think that is a better way to search. I feel like that in their brainstorming sessions at Google, they were probably saying, well, given the amount of conversations that are going to be happening here, if you search for that, it's just going to be searching that fire hose. And so it's much better to break it down to your mail, which is you, and then your messages, which is, mail is you and other people, but it's still yours for the most part. It's not an onslaught of lots of other people having other conversations unless you're CC'd endlessly like some folks are. But I certainly would love the option. Yes.
Right. Yeah. What is your default? What is your default? Is it unified search or is it, mail only?
Yeah.
Right. One of those two.
Or, spaces only or whatever. But give that option of a unified search.
Sure. Why not?
Look, there's also weird discrepancies between mobile. On mobile, you can search across all inboxes.
Oh, yeah, right.
If I'm logged into multiple emails, why can't I search across all? I don't actually ever use that feature. I'm just saying.
I do. I use it a lot.
In terms of a unified search.
I do. I use it a lot. Yep.
The YouTube chief business officer is leaving after more than 12 years. I just saw an alert.
Is this new news? Okay.
I guess that's new news. That's next week's episode. Yeah. I don't know how relevant it is to this audience, except that I run this on YouTube for all of the video stuff.
All right, so
I digress.
Let's check some of the details here of this one. So kind of as we were saying, you can select mail, messages, or spaces pretty soon instead of just mail or chat and spaces. So that will change. And it says here the directory will not only include spaces you've joined, but also discoverable spaces and restricted spaces you've been invited to but have yet to join. So users will have the opportunity to preview the space contents before deciding to join by clicking preview, the preview button next to each unjoined space. So I guess it gives you some insight there into spaces you haven't joined where things may have been discussed. But again, more so why you should have a unified search result, because if I'm looking for something and it just shows up in my email results, I might think, oh, I was just looking for an email, not realizing that there's a very active space that you haven't joined that's talking about that exact thing, and you don't notice it because you didn't click spaces. I don't know. Anyways, I digress. That's why I think it should be unified search.
I concur.
Yeah. So starting rollout for this one starts the 24th of August on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 50 days, and that will be for both rapid release and scheduled release domains. Availability for this one, all customers on Workspace as well as Legacy, G Suite, and Basic, and also it will be available to those with personal Google accounts. And that wraps up the wraps up the updates for this week. Jesse, over to you for other news.
All right. So over on aboutchromebooks.com, there's an article showing an early look at Google's Chrome browser PWA store. Now, this is primarily only for the browser. It's not for Chrome OS, especially because Chrome OS has more of a...
Trying to figure out what PWAs are for ages here, right?
Yeah, specifically, yes. But
yeah, what's a PWA versus a web page? I don't know. Whatever.
Well, in this case, it's the wrapper version of whatever the apps are, but the difference between the two we still haven't figured out. But for a very long time in the Chrome browser, you have had a rather limited, somewhat kind of useless list of the quote-unquote apps that you have installed. It was first extensions, and then there were some apps on there, and some of them were the default ones. And it's never really been all that useful, in my opinion. Usually I'll just trigger it from the extensions page, or I already have a shortcut to it from the taskbar. Right. This is giving a much better user interface for you to be able to manage what apps you're using, given that we have so many of them now. A lot of different apps are being built as PWAs, such as even Photoshop, Spotify, Facebook Messenger, YouTube even, and Slack. I actually haven't used the Slack PWA, so I'm going to have to try that out. But essentially, it's the first in a long time overhaul of this experience and how it's supposed to work. In Google's words, there's no convenient place for users to open frequently used apps. They said using apps, but that should be frequently used apps, I think, grammatically. So they want to add a app home module in the Chrome new tab page, which I think would be pretty awesome. They continue to make that new tab page more and more useful and closer to the iGoogle kind of functionality of which I was a big fan. We've talked about that in the past. There's apparently 2 Google Docs that detail this, so if you're interested in more details, you can click on the link in the show notes or below to see exactly what we're talking about and what this looks like. But it's nice to see them really, really putting some effort into here and realizing that, hey, this is a kind of a out there area that everybody sees and we haven't really touched in a long time, and giving it some focus and attention. Like I said, there is a brand new launcher in Chrome OS, so it doesn't really apply there, although there is some wording in the documentation that does mention some changes that could come over on the Chrome OS side as well. So if you're interested, go and take a look. Now, to the Chrome Unboxed article that we were talking about a little bit at length-ish earlier, a hidden Gmail trick to sort and route email like a ninja. Now, you know, netizens, if you will, of the old days, of the earlier days of the internet, for us, veterans of the era, will know in Gmail that if you have your email address and a plus and whatever the hell you want after it serves as a unique email address. It's similar to putting a period anywhere in your email, still goes to your email, right? So what they are highlighting here is an amazing trick for those of you who don't know.
But not in Workspace accounts. Not Workspace accounts. The dot does not work, only in Gmail.
Right. That is correct. Thank you for clarifying there. However, in Workspace and in Gmail, here you can do your email. So Jesse at tabGeeks, right? Jesse plus, say, YouTube or IKEA or wherever the hell I'm signing up for. I can, at tabgeeks.com will then be a unique email as seen by Gmail, and then I can search for it, and more specifically and more helpfully, create a filter to automatically go into a folder. So I'm looking to buy a new car right now. I'm currently car shopping. So I can create Jesse plus car, or whatever the hell I want to call it, and automatically filter all of the tens of millions of emails that I'm about to get from all the car dealers that have somehow heard me say this on the air, that I'm looking to buy a new car and are going to be emailing me. I will be able to filter all of that into an automatic email where it'll still go into my inbox, but it'll automatically go into a folder, or I could just auto-delete because I'm not ever going to probably read them anyway. So, cool feature there if you don't know about it. Curious how many people did and how many people don't. Let us know in the comments. And then the other thing that we were talking about earlier, drumroll please, is the XKCD comic from, I actually wonder when it was. It was many years ago. Where the math is that there's essentially 10,000 people born in the U.S. each day, I think, and that means that there's 10,000 people that are every day that don't know what we all essentially know, and as he generally does, has the math to break it down and back it up. But essentially, there are potentially 10,000 people every day who don't know the things that you know. So if you didn't know this trick, as it says in the comic, congrats, you are one of today's lucky 10,000. Now you know this trick, and I'm happy to have shared it with you. And if you don't know the comic I'm talking about, look up XKCD. It is phenomenal. And if you want to see the exact one I'm talking about, I'll put it in the show notes. But it's XKCD. Today's 1000, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah, it's 1053 is the number of the XKCD. It's 1053.
Thank you.
If you ever
It's not called today's 10,000, it's just called 10,000. But
right, it's called 10,000. And the number of it is 1053. So not quite.
Yep.
Should be like 10,000. That would be so.
It should have been, but
10,000 is not.
Fun fact: if I remember correctly, Randall Munroe, who is the creator and current writer and artist of XKCD, used to be a Googler. Used to work at Google, or maybe still does. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure he was a Google engineer at some point. I'm gonna have to go and look up the article that I saw about him years ago, interviewing him. He's got some amazing books called What If. His comics are all science-based. My other absolute all-time favorite comic of his is a hostage situation where somebody's taking over a building. And do you know this one?
No, but funnily enough, he worked exactly at the place that you have a shirt on today.
He did. He also worked at NASA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you say
I'm
that
showing
already?
off my NASA love. I didn't show off my shirt. And I didn't say that he worked at NASA.
Yeah.
But in solidarity with the Artemis team, I'm wearing my NASA shirt today. Unfortunately, it was scrubbed, but hopefully we'll get another opportunity if they can fix the problems by next week. But back to the comic of XKCD, you see the bad guy with the gun is talking on the phone, says, "We took the hostages, we secured the building, and we cut the communication lines, like you said." And the other end of the line says, "Excellent." And then he says, "But then this guy climbed up the ventilation ducts, walked across broken glass, killing anyone we sent to stop him." And the phone person says, "And he rescued the hostages?" And the guy with the gun says, "No, he ignored them. He just reconnected the cables we cut, muttering something about uptime." And the guy on the phone says, "Shit, we're dealing with a sysadmin." So that's one of my all-time favorites there of XKCD. Go and look it up. And that's pretty much our show.
Is that?
Anything else, Steve?
Ooh, not for me.
Awesome. All right, feel free to send us your questions and comments on Twitter and on our website, workspacerecap.com. Twitter is at workspacerecap, of course. And, I was reading the wrong area there. That's why I was stumbling over myself. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review on your favorite. I should just do this from memory by now. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you're on YouTube, get notifications of our alerts, drop your comments below, give us a thumbs up, and leave a review on your podcasting platform, and let everybody know that we are your number one and best source for Google Workspace news. Have a great week, everyone, and we will see you next time on Workspace Recap.